Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Shooters Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Matt, at PostUp323. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. You can follow us on the socials at Shooters Lounge 3 and also follow us on YouTube at the Shooters Lounge. And you can also follow us in podcast form on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. So we're down to the final four, guys. The conference finals are set. We're down to the final four teams. We're going to be covering the game ones from the West and the East finals. With me today is, well, I think he's going for five in a row now. We've got the returning Jord. Jord, what's happening, bro?
Hello, mate. Got to be done. Got to be done for the playoffs. I mean, this is one of the most intriguing sort of set of conference finals we've had, I think, for quite a few years. I genuinely think you can make a case for any of these four teams winning it. And it's going to be, everyone keeps moaning every year that conference finals will keep being over in 5 or 6 games. I don't think it's going to be the case this year. And if it is, they're going to be very close games between, the two teams that are left. So exciting times, Matt. I think for the neutral, and you've seen it with the ratings. The ratings have been through the roof throughout the whole playoffs. So a lot more people are watching it this year. Mm-hmm. Which goes to show, just because there's not an LA team or a Celtics in there or someone that's got a superstar in their team, albeit fair enough, you've got Shea and Anthony Edwards, but there's not, there's no LeBron, there's no Steph Curry. Mm-hmm. Can still draw the numbers in. And in fact, you could argue that it's having the reverse effect. Now that they're all out, a lot more people are watching it. Albeit New York obviously are still in it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they're not as big as the other teams, are they really? And they don't have as much as Jalen Brunson is a star player. He's not, in my opinion, at that superstar level. Not yet. He's he's getting there. He's getting there, but not quite.
All right. Yeah, man. I mean, perhaps people are sick of Curry and LeBron making the conference finals and finals every year, mate. Perhaps they're ready for some new guys to kind of, take on the monocle, and kind of take the league into the next 10 years, let's say.
Well, I think when you look back, this could almost be like a passing of the torch moment, couldn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Where you've had, sort of the old guard in the West with, I know it sounds a bit strange saying this, but Jokic. And in particular, obviously, with the Timberwolves and the Warriors and Lakers, they've dismissed both of them easily, haven't they? I know that obviously there was issues with Curry, but they've dismissed them very easily. So I think it is almost like a changing of the guard kind of moment. And, we're seeing some new blood, in deep in the playoffs and in the spotlight. And I think that's what people find interesting. I've got friends that sort of casually watch basketball, but they've not really been that bothered the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But hearing about, some of these new guys, well, I say new guys, obviously they've been in the league a few years, but like SGA and even Brunson, he was sort of a late bloomer, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think now those guys are sort of now that it's new blood in the league, and Halliburton, of course, can't forget him. It's interesting to people because it's almost as if there's been so. If you didn't watch a game until after COVID, so COVID happens and then you stop watching basketball, you started watching it again now.
Yeah,
it's amazing how much it's changed in terms of the rosters and the players now. It goes without saying, a 5-year gap that's going to happen. I think that's what people find interesting, especially more casual fans find them more interesting.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of casual NBA fans watching a lot of Indiana and OKC games, really, is there? It's just not what happens, is it? But now, they're in the conference finals, and it's with these guys. Oh, okay, I'll check these guys out, and that's kind of how it starts. But like you say, the ratings have been a thing for the last couple of years, haven't they? About loss of ratings and things, but it looks like they rallied and possibly, when it comes to the finals, they might be just as good as they are, if not better, on previous years, mate. So that's always a good thing for the league, isn't it, bro? So, absolutely. So we'll start with the West Conference Finals. We've got the only number one seed left in the playoffs. We've got OKC Thunder against the Ant-Man and the Minnesota Timberwolves. OKC taking game one, 114-88. George, what was your thoughts on this game? What did you kind of find interesting about this one?
I thought I don't quite know why it didn't work out like this against the Nuggets, but I think this was Mark Daigneault being able to execute a perfect offensive set using the players that he's got. High amount of shots inside the arc, lots of paint running, very sensible use of the 3-point shot. They weren't just throwing them up every now. It was rotation. If there's someone open, get it to them three. They were very efficient. It was over 50% from 3, 11-21. And then I think inside it was, if you just give me a second, it was exactly 50%. 41 of 82. Everyone wants to keep moaning about the 3-point, the three. If I can get my pronunciation correct, the free throws that were attempted. There was a 5-point discrepancy between the teams, and OKC Thunder put up 9 more points in the paint than the Timberwolves did. Why it's an odd number, don't ask, because I don't really understand how it cannot be odd, but there you go. They managed to put up 9 more points in the paint. So that would sort of figure. It's just obviously people like to say that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a free throw merchant.
Now, that is the narrative that was being peddled after game one, bro, wasn't it?
I personally, I don't see it. I know there was some call. There was one call that was a bad call. Every single playoff game you're going to watch, there's going to be multiple bad or missed calls. So the only reason it's getting the attention it is because it's SGA. So I'd like to put that to one side. The reason the Timberwolves lost this game is they shot 15 of 51 from 3. They were 29% from 3. Now, as a Celtics fan who watched us in the first 2 games against the Knicks, I can tell you this is not a winning recipe. This will not end well. No. I mean, the fact is that the Thunder shot 61 more shots inside the arc than they did from outside. The Timberwolves, it was 32. So it was almost double the amount of shots the Thunder were getting inside for. Now that shows two things.
Yeah.
Either they're moving it and they're driving it more inside, or what usually is the case is that the perimeter defense is not there. They're able to find a hole and just exploit that. And I think that kept happening all game. And it was a different person every single time. It was Mike Conley. It was Donte DiVincenzo when he got out there. It was even Naz Reid didn't have a very good night on the defensive end of the floor. I was really surprised.
Strange game from Naz Reid, man. Yeah,
he's been usually, he's been so reliable for them. But in the amount of minutes he put up, 4 points, 4 assists and 8 boards. All right, fair enough. But I just thought defensively, he just didn't seem like he was sort of engaged.
No, 1 for 11 from the field. Tough one.
Not good. I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but Rudy Gobert again, he cannot be 3 boards, 1 assist, and 2 points. Regardless of $2 million contract. I mean, I'm not going to keep, like I said, we're just beating a dead horse at this point. But he was nowhere. McDaniels as well, not a great night shooting wise. And I won't mention the fact that he was 1 basket away from winning me £90, so we're not going to discuss that.
He was in foul trouble as well, wasn't he?
And I think this is it. The spark plug for me in this series for each team is, I think, for the Timberwolves, it's a mix of Naz Reid, DiVincenzo, because DiVincenzo gets going from outside the arc. He's like a laser beam. And Naz Reid as well, he's got multiple levels to score on. But Thunder, and I think this is always, this just feels like something changes when he comes on the court. And the energy just changes, and He's able to. It's Alex Caruso. He's just able to I don't know what it is. He's just absolutely relentless defensively.
Yeah.
He's been there from all of the stats that I've been able to sort of look at. He's been the most efficient player from three for the Thunder. He's not shot as many as some of the other players, but that's sort of the point. It's sensible use of it.
Yeah.
So I think the way that it was executed, the plan going forward offensively, Jalen Williams had a much better game than the last 2 or 3 games against the Nuggets.
Yeah.
And Shea, what can you say? They were double teaming him in the fourth quarter, and he was getting it away, and he was picking up assists left, right, and center.
Yeah.
I think there was a point in the fourth quarter where 3 of them made shots in a row from the Thunder, and in the middle of the fourth quarter, where it was still not quite a blowout yet, he was able to assist on 3 made baskets in a row. So that shows that it's not just, I'm going to put it on my back, I'm going to drive, and I'm going to do this. He can facilitate as well, and he was making the right decision. Decision making was great.
Yeah. It's about adjusting to the adjustment, Jordan, isn't it? It's like, right, okay, you play me one-on-one, I'm either getting to the basket or I'm getting an easy mid-range shot that I can get to. So, okay, so you're going to double me now. Well, I'm going to find the open guy. And fair enough, that guy's got to hit the shots, but it's adjusting to the adjustments, isn't it? And it's a bit of a chess game, isn't it, early on in the series, is what teams do, what do they react to what you're doing and stuff like that. And like you say, classic kind of SGA, adjusting to the adjustment and finding them open guys, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly, mate. I think that, one thing that I can't put my finger on is obviously it was super close at half time, and I was thinking, this is going to be a really cracking game. I thought
the Timberwolves were up at half time, weren't they?
Yeah.
Up 4, I think.
Are the Timberwolves going to do it again, where they're able to steal the first game on the road?
Yeah. Well, Randall was draining threes in the first half, wasn't he? He was like, what is going on here?
And I thought, because I missed the fourth quarter. Well, I missed the second half entirely, so I had to rewatch it the next day. And I was watching that, I was thinking, Randall could go for 50 here now.
Yeah, he's like,
he could have a game. And I woke up the next day and I thought, 28 points. I was like, don't tell me he's an absolute stinker of a second half. He just stopped shooting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, and 1 assist. It's like, I don't know what he was doing for that second half, but it's like you've had that much of a good start, and then you've just decided not to turn up for the second half.
Yeah.
It was really strange. I think there was a lot of strange things going on in this game that I can't, there's no evidence to sort of point to it. Like, someone massively dropped off in the second half. I mean, even Ant, like 18 points, 3 assists. But you look at it, and he was still shooting 45%. That's not bad.
Only had 13 shots, though.
Exactly. So what was on there? And watching it back, it's not really. I didn't notice the Thunder doing necessarily anything different in the second half that they weren't doing in the first.
I just think the defense was a lot more swarming in the second half, bro. I thought
it was, but I still don't understand why that just made them panic into just not knowing what they were doing. Because it's like, Randall's done it so well this playoff series, where if it's not been falling from 3. He'll utilize the paint and he'll drive. He wasn't doing it in the second half. It was really, really weird. So
he hasn't shot the 3 well all playoffs. This was the first game where the 3 was going down, and it's like, oh god, he's been finding ways to score in other by 2s and stuff like that, hasn't he, in the playoffs? But the 3 was going down in this first half, and like you say, you're like, oh man, Randall's in for a big game today, and like you say, just second half, just
Taylor
fell away. Yeah, I mean, DiVincenzo had 14 shots and Ant had 13. That's not a place as a Timberwolves fan you want it to be, is it? DiVincenzo's taking more shots than Ant is. That's they're picking him up full court. They're making it difficult. I mean, that defense is swarming, bro, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
I wanted to just sort of talk, because I know we were saying, we were going to sort of touch on what happened against the Nuggets in the game 7. Now there was 3 main talking points for me in that series. It was the zone defense, and it was the adapting to drop coverage that the Thunder were able to do.
Mm-hmm.
And in the game 7, they executed it again like they did in the game 1 against the Timberwolves. It was executed to perfection in that game 7. It was ruthless defense on Jokic. You didn't give him I've never seen a team able to guard Jokic in that way that they did in the Game 7. It was
guarding him with Caruso.
But this is it. Every single time it was someone else that was able to take it up. They didn't shy away from it, and I think
they couldn't even throw him an entry pass. He couldn't even get the ball, mate. At times, it was quite something to watch, wasn't it?
If you're coming out of that series and you're thinking we've just guarded, one of the hardest players to guard in the league, we can take anyone then, can't we? If we're gonna, I'm not. This is no disrespect to Ant Edwards, but if you've been able to stick it on Jokic for the majority of that series, you're going to fancy your chances against being able to guard up against Anthony Edwards. And yes, there will be a game in this series where he does just erupts and you can't stop him. If not so, wouldn't games, but you'd still fancy your chances. If you've been able to do it against Jokic, you'd be thinking, oh yeah, we can do it again. So.
Yeah, I just think they've got a lot of players they can chuck at Ant, haven't they? A lot of very good defensive players, massive wingspan guys who can just, get hands in. I mean, how many steals did they have in this game? It was something ridiculous. 13. Wow. 13 steals in this game, bro. The hand everywhere. They're in the passing lanes. And, even getting entry passes that, help on the weak side. Timberwolves aren't a great team at looking after the ball. I mean, how many turnovers did they have? 17. I mean, you give up that many steals and that many turnovers, bro. It's tough to win any game, mate, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, what they always look at is the key stats. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 total key stats that they point to. I always think it's interesting seeing which team won on the key stats debate. And I know a lot of people don't like looking at the stats, but I've found that these are usually quite accurate into terms of pointing to who's won the game. The Thunder won 13 out of 16 of those categories and won by 26 points. So it sort of tells you the story of the game, doesn't it, in a way? And, like you were saying, the turnovers was just not, it wasn't there, was it? But I just thought that another thing that I want to say, I know I said about the points in the paint that they were attempting, but 34 more points in the paint for the Thunder.
Yeah.
So if you want to sit here and tell me that, the foul baiting and they're getting more free throws than they should, 34 more points in the paint, that is a massive, massive discrepancy that is going to equal more free throw attempts because it just is. That's what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was an interesting game. I thought, the main talking point for me, Matt, is I was looking at this series beforehand and I thought if the Timberwolves can do what they've done all playoffs, they are going to really put it up to the Thunder. But I think going back to what I said a few weeks ago when they were playing the Grizzlies, it was a good warm-up for them. Yeah. They, Shea started slowly and then got going. And then in the Nuggets series, again, he was a bit rusty to start off with and then got it going as it went on. I think, based on that first game, he's ready. He's ready for this moment now. They're all ready. I think, I don't know whether the Nuggets series went on a bit longer than it should do because they were a little bit complacent and they thought, we just need to get past these guys. But
yeah.
I agree with whatever I've heard so far from different people that are saying that, this Western Conference Finals is basically the NBA Finals. Whoever wins this wins a chip.
You think so?
Okay. I don't, for a reason that I'm going to discuss when we talk about the Eastern Conference.
That's what a lot of people are saying, though. Okay. Yeah.
I think you can make that argument.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And, I just think that the depth and the way that they're both coached is just, well, especially for the Thunder, I think they've got the best coach left. I think, I don't think it's, but that's, obviously I still really like Rick Carlisle and Chris Finch. I mean, Tibbs, is take him or leave him.
We'll come to Tibbs in a bit, I'm sure.
Take him or leave him, but Daigneault, I think, is by far and away the best coach that's left in this. I think that you're seeing what happens when you get a young coach and he's had the time to mature over, multiple seasons now and get the players. He knows the team, he knows the city, he knows the fans, he knows how things work in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
and it's going to just help massively, isn't it? We're seeing it play out now. He's had years to get this ready, and they've been building towards this for a long time with what Sam Presti did with all these picks that they've stolen and still have moving forward.
It's the dream, mate, isn't it? Build a young team with an MVP caliber player and have a shed load of draft picks to boot as well. I mean, that's the GM's dream, bro, isn't it? Surely.
I mean, take notes, Philadelphia, because this is the real process. This is the process when the process works, not when you just go tanking trying to get first picks. This is what happens.
Poor AB.
After what he said to me after the Celtics lost, man, I don't give a shit anymore.
I think some people did revel in your sadness, George. Yes, he wasn't the only one either.
No, but it's just it's easier to just poke fun at the 76ers at the minute than anybody else, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. No, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Yeah.
Someone's got to get it, mate.
I mean, looking at the game, who was the team who played 48 hours before? It looked like it was Minnesota rather than OKC, didn't it? Minnesota had been off a week. It's the argument are you too much rest? I don't know. But OKC looked like they were locked and loaded and ready to go, didn't they?
Yeah, and I think that makes them, based on that one performance. I mean, they already were, but I think that shows why they're title favourites. It's the complete package, isn't it, that you get in with them? Coach is there, defense is there, bodies are there, offense
scoring.
Yeah. All the main things that you look out for a team that's going to go on and win the championship, they're there, aren't they? So
yeah. The only thing with OKC probably, mate, was the question mark of inexperience or whatever people want to say that they're too young to win. But hey, mate, I mean they're still in it, and a lot of teams aren't. So that's sometimes maybe you're too young, but they're looking like the kind of real deal, aren't they? I mean, seeing out Game 7, this game to me was a similar kind of outcome of the game that Game 7 was against Denver. This game, it was tied at half time, and then OKC just come out in the third quarter and just blew the game wide open. Almost like the other team didn't kind of come out and were ready for the fight, really. It just seemed quite similar kind of outcome than the conference, the semi-final against Denver, Game 7.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting a bit of a reputation for being a third quarter team, and that's akin to one Golden State Warriors. They are very well known, in their front for being an elite team in the third quarter, and that was what killed us against them in the finals. Was the way that they were able to just run away with it in the third quarter.
Yeah.
So if they're utilizing that, there are some believers, in the sort of science department of the NBA that think that the third quarter is the most important. I don't know. Or, if it is, then they're doing the right things, aren't they?
No, absolutely. Do you expect a bounce back game from Edwards, Game 2, George?
Yeah, I think someone just needs to sort of have a word in his ear and say, remember who you are. Don't do what Jimmy Butler did in the last round and just not shoot the ball, because you weren't. It's not like you weren't shooting. Well, that's not even a dig at Butler, Matt. Really, it's the fact I was so disappointed he only took 9 shots.
No, all warranted, George. All warranted. Yeah. Okay.
Don't start not bothering to shoot for whatever reason, because 5 of 13. Yeah, it's not great, but it's not bad. 45% from the field. That's fine. No one's going to really bat an eyelid. So
even took a swipe from Dwayne Wade, didn't he, the other day?
What, Butler did?
Yeah, did you see that? No,
I didn't actually, but I'm not surprised.
He says you're at $50 million a year, mate. This is winning time, mate. This is give me the ball and I'm going to do what I do. And looked like he didn't want to shoot and he was shying away from it.
He's right though, isn't he? He paid
what he said was completely correct, but I'm surprised he come out and said it. I think he was on a podcast or something, but what he said was completely warranted, bro. Yeah, but I was surprised that he actually come out and said it, like kind of thing,
Well, I think they've had a bit of history, haven't they? Them two. I think it's more of sort of jokey kind of thing.
You never know. Yeah, you never know if they're being serious or something, don't you? They have two jabs at people, don't they?
Well, I remember when Butler said some things about, some very complimentary, apparently, things about Dwayne Wade's wife that he didn't take too kindly to. You can't really tell if it's jokey or if it's sort of kind of serious or half
I
serious.
think they must be all right because they went to the same college, didn't they? They're both not at the same time, obviously, but I don't know. Alumni, I don't know, but
So
maybe he was just doing it, just get a rise out of Jimmy. Just see
maybe, obviously, he probably knows Jimmy better than a lot of people do. Maybe that's the kind of sentiment that's going to get him going again next season, and he's going to think of that, and he's going to be like, "I'm not that guy. I'm going to show you I'm not that guy," because he's never been in the past. He's one of my favorite players to watch because it's that attitude, isn't it? It's that it's die for the game attitude that people don't appreciate. I still think he's one of the most underappreciated players in this generation. I think for me, Matt, I think if he doesn't get in the Hall of Fame, it'll be a real shame.
Everybody gets in the Hall of Fame now, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
Don't worry about that, bro.
I think that he's one of those guys that we just don't. I don't think people appreciate as much as they probably should do. And
is it probably one of the things is you have to be there to appreciate it? I don't know.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's players in history that have sort of been that kind of player.
Yeah,
I think someone I compare him to. I always think of sort of if I can make the comparison between their appreciation level when they were playing, I'd probably say someone like Chris Webber.
Yeah.
He was just because of the talent that was around him, and he didn't win anything. People sort of don't appreciate him as much as they maybe should do, and I think Butler's going to be sort of in the same category as that. I mean, remember he dragged that awful Miami Heat team to a playoff final, and then did the same again, a few years later when people said that his one and only chance had come and gone.
Well, it took the finals in the bubble when nobody wanted to be there.
Well, that's why, he had this coffee shop going, didn't he? He had all the right. He had the mentality was to do well. So
yeah, he had a great time, if you believe the rumors. I don't know if that's true or not, but if you believe the rumors, he had a great time. Sorry. So going back to this one, so game 2 is tonight, I think, isn't it? Yeah, tonight. So not long to wait. I think there's a day between each game now, isn't it? So the games come thick as fast. And so is that a good thing or a bad thing? If you're Edwards, probably a good thing because you want to kind of get back out there and right the wrongs, let's say, of game 1 and maybe put on a complete performance. But it's tough against that OKC defense, bro.
It is, but the one thing about that I don't really understand is why are the West Conference games starting at 1:30 and the East ones are starting at 1? Why the need for the half an hour difference?
I have no idea. I have no idea, mate. I don't know. Finals are usually 1:30, 2 o'clock, aren't they? I think usually. Yeah. I don't know, mate. But it looks like that's what it says all the way into it, 1.5, 1, mate. So that's a good one. It's probably time difference in it, time zones and stuff. So we'll find out tonight, game 2, what's going to happen in this one. So obviously, just speaking about SGA, he had another piece of good news yesterday or the day before. He was named the MVP of the regular season, beating out Nikola Jokic. What are your thoughts on this one, George? Was it? I think we have kind of spoke about it briefly on other pods. I think I remember you saying, if it goes to either one of these guys, I don't think you can be angry at it. Are you with the same sentiment?
Yeah, I completely stick by that, Matt. I think looking at the voting share, I think they're probably about right. Every single person who voted had Jokic and SGA 1 or 2, which. Yeah. I think is a good sign that we've at least not got idiots that are turning votes in, because that to me that was just as important as making sure that they went to the right person.
Yeah. I need to check who the guy voted Mobley for 5th MVP. I need to know who that guy is.
I want to check that. I want to check James Harden. I want to check Steph Curry. I want to check Cade, and I want to check LeBron, because who's voted for any of those to be anywhere near the top 5 MVP vote?
Yeah, I mean, Cade had a nice season, but let's just calm down a bit. Yeah. Is he the Detroit beat writer?
Well, the alarming thing is that one person had him 4th and 9 people had Cade 5th.
Yeah.
You know,
not in my five, I'll be honest. But
LeBron had 13 for fifth and 1 for fourth place. I mean, you know, he's got a lot of people on the payroll, hasn't he? So no wonder. And I'm sure Brian Windhorst was one of those people who had him in the top 5.
They're not friends anymore, man. LeBron called him a weirdo or something. I don't think they're friends anymore, man.
Allegedly.
Is that another taking jabs in the media again or something?
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, I still think the strangest one out of all them is James Harden. Come off it.
Yeah, Harden's at 100%. Yes,
it's ridiculous. But no, I think aside from that, you know, they got it pretty much right. The main thing that I do think has taught me round with the SGA thing is I know, and I still stick by it. I think if you ignore all the voter fatigue and everything else, it still should have been Jokic's. However, the main thing that I did mention the other week that a lot of people still have not been talking about, it's the fact that SGA is a complete solid two-way player. He's a good defender. He's a plus defender.
Mm-hmm.
And Jokic isn't. So if that's going to be, you know, if you're looking for deciding factors and you think if you just say they've both had amazing seasons, SGA's obviously taken to a 1 seed, which counts for something. I think you can sort of say, well, the defense is just miles better and has been all season. So that's probably why I you know, like I said, I couldn't be angry with either one of them winning it. I think, you know, on the balance of everything, I think SGA deserves it. And I don't think, you know, no one can take him away from it. You know, no one can take it away from him now, Matt, can they? So
no, absolutely. No, for sure. Yeah, like you say, either one, I think you kind of go, both of them have had an amazing season. I thought it would be a bit closer. I'm not going to lie. I was quite surprised that SGA won it that convincingly. I thought it was going to be a lot closer because I thought it was that tight. But, you know, the media have spoken, and like you say, you can't be mad at it. They were the best team all year. They had the best record, so you know they kind of it makes sense. And he's the best player on the best team, so I can understand it. Jokic statistically was ridiculous, and that was the thing for me. If you took Jokic off the team, then where are Denver going to be if Jokic is not on that team? That to me was what my argument was. I think OKC would still be pretty good without SGA. Obviously, they wouldn't be as good. That goes without saying. But yeah, he's had like one of the greatest guard statistical seasons ever, apparently, hasn't he? So you know you can't be angry. Like you say, a decent two-way player as well. Averages over a steal and a half a game. So you know you're playing both ends as well, which is always appreciated, isn't it? So yeah, like I say, media's spoken and they've given it to SGA. So I think they were waiting for that second round series to finish, Joe, didn't they, before they were going to announce the winner of this one? Because if Jokic had gone through, they were like, "Oh, damn, what do we do now?" I don't know. It just fit in very nicely, didn't it? Game 7, easy win for OKC. Then the MVP comes. It's all very. I think they knew that, didn't they? They knew what was coming, kind of thing, you know. So,
but I think at the same time, you know, it's a regular season award, isn't it? So even if you just say, well, look, you know, it doesn't matter because this doesn't count.
Yeah, it's optics, though, isn't it, bro? It's that kind of, you know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I suppose if he goes through, it's going to be like, well.
I did see a couple of people say, you know, Game 7, they should just hang the MVP trophy above the court like a ladder match or something, and let them battle it out for it. Whoever pulls it down first, you know, is the winner kind of thing, which is a fun concept. But yeah, like I say, there's not much more to say. But yeah, we need a couple of names then, don't we, bro? On James Harden. I think
that's a bizarre one. That is bizarre for me. I don't understand. You know,
I don't think they should be allowed to have a vote next year. I'll be honest. I don't think they should be allowed to. Giannis worthy third. I think Giannis had a fantastic year for the Bucks. The regular season wise, his numbers were ridiculous. So probably worthy third place, I'd say, mate. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. Matt. I mean, I think it's also interesting the fact that there is one unaccounted for vote for Jason Tatum in the top 5, and I can only assume that has gone to James Harden.
Ouch. Ouch. I mean, Tatum as well. The regular season was brilliant as well, wasn't he? So, and then Mitchell they've had a really good regular season for Cleveland. So that's a solid top 5, bro, in it, I think. MVP.
Yeah, that's your all NBA first team, isn't it? Right there.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
I mean,
so.
still, I don't quite understand how LeBron has almost crept into that first team all NBA.
But Cade's got as many points as Anthony Edwards has in the MVP. That was a strange one I noticed.
Yeah, I think maybe the fact that obviously he's sort of MIP, they've kind of.
Yeah, I mean, Cade's had a great year. Don't get me wrong, but
maybe overestimated his impact on in terms of an MVP.
Yeah. But like I say, they've had a brilliant year. Detroit, if they'd have said that at the start of the season of where they were, taking the Knicks a hard first round series, I think they'd have taken that, wouldn't they? So, and Cade was the best player on that team, wasn't he? So,
yeah,
I get it, but bet more than Edwards. I don't know about that one.
No, I'm not sure about that one.
Like I say, we're kind of picking nits here, aren't we? I suppose.
No,
but,
yeah, that's
the fun bit, though, isn't it? Yeah. Which who wins? You like who's voting for fit? What's going on down here? Yeah, I think that's pretty much all to say. Isn't it? So congrats to SGA on winning the MVP for this season. So will it end in a title? Who knows? They're still in the game, so every chance to see it through. So
doesn't happen often, Matt, does it? Even statistically speaking, I think it's actually rarer, a lot rarer to win the chip in the same year that you win MVP.
Interesting. Yeah,
it didn't happen a long time ago, but I think sort of from the 90s onwards, it's been very, very hit and miss since sort of MJ when it's been very hit and miss since then. So
Curry must have won it one year when he was MVP. LeBron.
Yeah. I don't think. Apart from that, I don't think there's really anyone that comes to mind.
I'll get my stat guy on that.
Because I know that obviously Steve Nash, twice MVP. Obviously, he.
Why'd you have to take a swipe at the Suns, bro? You couldn't help yourself, could you?
But then obviously Giannis both times didn't win a chip that year.
No.
And you can go on. D Rose, same thing. Kevin Garnett, same thing. So it's quite a lot. So it would kind of go against the narrative of late.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. So we'll wait and see how Game 3 goes on, and then from beyond, and see if they make the finals and see it through. It doesn't mean anything without the ring, is what they say. So we'll see. So. Moving over to the East. Well, I mean, what can you say about this Game 1? For the neutral, an absolute game for the ages. If you're a Knicks fan, this was tough to watch down the stretch. Indiana, we say some teams steal games. I mean, this one was absolute robbery. Pacers managed to see it out after overtime in a highly scoring game, George. 138-135 after overtime. I think this probably suits the Pacers better when it's a high scoring game. But you watched this live, George, right? What were your feelings whilst you were watching this in real time?
I mean, I think when there was 6 minutes played and both teams had over 20 points. And yes, the defense was non-existent, but both teams were so good shooting from the floor and from three, especially in that first half. It was just hardly anyone was missing.
Yeah.
So it was absolutely lights out across the floor. And then, Knicks, there was still it was ding-donging a lot in the third quarter. And then at the start of the fourth, they really opened up a bit of a lead. And it was up at 17 points at one time. And then all of a sudden, this happened.
Channeling Reggie Miller.
And, I mean, I just think that all I have to say is it's Agent Aaron Nesmith. It is secret agent Aaron Nesmith, former Celtic, comes back to the Garden revenge for what happened in the last round. I have never seen the likes of that ever. For just, for someone who really doesn't shoot that often from outside to just not miss in the clutch. That is some of the most clutch shooting you will ever see.
Yeah.
It was just unbelievable, and the back-to-back threes he made where it was getting real close. It was just like, how has he made those shots? And they weren't just like bouncing, and they were literally straight through the net. It was unbelievable. And they made 6 threes in a row without missing towards the end of that game. And all of a sudden, I don't know what got into him. Rick Carlisle took a massive gamble by using that one of the last 2 remaining timeouts with 6 minutes left. And if this goes close, this is going to get difficult. If he didn't take that timeout at that point in the game, the Knicks were absolutely running riot. He had to use it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he said to him in that timeout, but that managed to just absolutely change the game completely. And it was a comeback of the ages, Matt, really, wasn't it, late on in that fourth quarter?
This is what the Pacers do, bro. Like, they've done it. They've done it 2 other times already, haven't they, in these playoffs, man?
Yeah, they did it to the Bucks. They did it to the Cavs. And once again, it was Tyrese Halliburton. The most overrated player in the league. How's that working out, everyone? It would have been unreal if that would have been a 3-pointer. It would have been absolutely insane. It was still good.
All-time shithousery, mate. If that had gone for a 3, bro. Oh my goodness.
It was still good. It was still, I still think it was really, really good.
You better win OT though, bro, aren't you? You better win OT. Like, that's all I'm saying. If they hadn't won OT, you'd have heard about that.
And I think as soon as it went to overtime, the Knicks, the belief had gone.
Mate, that crowd after that shot by Halliburton in the end of regulation, the crowd was silent, weren't they? It was just silent. They were just stunned, weren't they? That it did actually make it back, I think. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. They were, what were they down? 108. Just trying to see it. 108-92. After the Knicks had kind of pushed it out to the lead after Brunson had went out due to foul trouble. I think did he get his 5th foul earlier on in the 4th? So and they went on a run without him, without Brunson on the floor. So it was even did it without the best player. So,
but I mean, the key thing for me is I've said it about them several times, Matt. It's resilience for the Pacers.
Don't know when they beat me.
No, and also obviously they've got so many different guys that contribute on that team. Last night we've said it before, haven't we? It seems like he's a different player every game. Last night, apart from Halliburton doing his usual business, it was Aaron Nesmith. 29 points, lights out efficiency.
Yeah, he's gone from not being able to get minutes on the Celtics to being a real important player on this Pacers team. It's amazing, like we always say, bro. Sometimes it's just you need to go through a different situation, don't you? Do you ever write a player off these days? I don't know. They could go to another team and it just clicks and you're on the right team and the right system, right coach. And like you say, look at Naismith. Unbelievable.
But it really, this to me, it's just, I hope they take this as a humbling, the Knicks, because this is why nobody likes you. No one likes you. It's not just me. It's not just Celtics fans. No one likes Knicks fans because of the way they act. And you genuinely would have thought they just won the championship after they beat the Celtics. That's how excessively they celebrate.
But when you say act like you've been there before, the Knicks haven't been there in so long that I think they've forgotten.
Even if I got there, that's not how I'd be acting. You've still got 2 series to win if you want to actually get the job done, and they're not going to be easy.
Yeah, this is the fans, though, isn't it? The players aren't acting like that. This is the fans, right?
That's why I said when I was after the Celtics series that I've got a lot more respect than I did for this Knicks team. The fans are an entirely different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
In terms of the team, I like the team. I think they've got some really nice players and things, and there obviously are people out there that just hate the Knicks and won't give them any credit. But it's important to separate the players and the team from the fan base.
Sure.
And I think, Cat had a monster night last night. Then the 34, is it 35 and 12? I think
35 and 12, mate. Yeah.
And Brunson obviously 41.
Yeah,
Bridges was busy.
Ruined a really good Brunson game, man. Brunson was really good in this game, and it was in a loss, unfortunately, bro, wasn't it? Yeah. Carry on, Paul.
Right on that point, Matt. Have they wasted a good game out of Brunson?
Always the worry, isn't it?
You don't want to do that, and I mean, especially with Cat as well. That's his easily hands down his best game this whole playoff run. Have you just wasted two really good performances there?
Yeah.
And if that is the case, this could be really interesting to see how quickly the Pacers can just turn the lights out. Because if they're able to steal game 2, at best they're going to split. I think in Indiana, if you're coming back to the Garden 3-1 down, if you come back at all, it's early days yet to be talking about a sweep. But if you come back 3-1 to MSG, this is a different story to the last series, where best player was hurt in the last 2 games of that series, and obviously the sort of focus and the determination had completely gone. This is a different kind of test. It's an entirely different test, and I think that the one important thing to note as well is that. They moaned all series long against the Celtics about the officiating. I don't understand why, because all the stats showed that the Knicks got the favourable calls. So I don't understand where that came from. Last night there were some absolute howlers late on that went against Indiana, and still managed to win. Now that shows me that you are not stopping the inevitable. If they are going to win this series, and I think that was an advert last night for you can throw everything at us, but we're still not going to stop until it's finished, until it's over. We're still going to keep going. There was 2 3-point attempts that, in my opinion, weren't fouls. That they gave 3 free throws to the Knicks for late on.
Yeah.
There was the horrendous call that thankfully Rick Carlisle had the review for, where Siakam very clearly gets an entire hand on the ball, pushes it away, and then the follow through hits the arm. How you have not seen that?
He made 2 big challenges, didn't he, Carlisle? 2 big calls that they got overturned through the challenges, man. Yeah, so
one that was off Brunson's hand late on, but I think that to me shows that if you get one challenge, you can this is the way I always see it. And obviously, we can see it's easier to determine it now because you get multiple challenges now. They've changed the rules, obviously, in the last couple of years. Where if your first challenge is successful, you retain it. And you can then use it as much as you can, as much as you like, until it's unsuccessful, then you lose it, which never used to happen. And we always used to say, why doesn't that happen? It happens in the NFL. Why doesn't it happen in the NBA?
Yeah.
And I think this shows now that if one foul gets overturned, all right, we all make mistakes. But 2 in the same game, that close together, too much of a coincidence. That's poor officiating.
Yeah.
And someone needs to come out and say, look, we got a couple of decisions wrong.
In comparison for the Knicks, they had to use their challenge earlier on to try and get a foul on Brunson overturned, but it wasn't. So they lost their challenge. They got nothing towards the end then. You've got to try and keep that challenge, haven't you, towards the end of the game, bro, because you don't want to get in a situation where you need one and you've already used it. That's always a worry.
Ime Udoka used to say all the time when he was at the Celtics that he would rather let 2 or 3. I mean, this was before the change of the of the challenge system. He would rather let 2 or 3 bad decisions go earlier on in the game and still have the challenge left in the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter every time.
Yeah.
And there'd be times where, they'd say, oh, we think you should challenge it. And he'd be like, yeah, all right, it's a wrong decision, but I'm now going to lose this for the rest of the game. It's
plenty of time left, though, isn't there? Yeah, do you know what I mean? You don't know what's coming down the pike, do you, mate? Do you know what I mean? That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, I think that's a kind of strategy I'd use, mate. I'd be like, there might be at some point during the end of the game where I'm going to need this, and challenging something in the first half or early on in the third quarter, I can't warrant doing it, even though it might get overturned. But there's still plenty of time left in the game. But something with 30 seconds to go in the game, it's it could be that's a real big call then that could get overturned and it could change the outcome of the game. If it's in the middle of in the second quarter or sometimes first quarter, some of them challenge. I'm like, man, you're crazy, mate. Because if they don't overturn it, you've lost that then, and yeah, it's a big chance that you're taking, bro, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, mate. I mean, I think also I just want to touch on the fact that the Knicks, I think 32% from three. I know they got off to a good start, but that's not going to cut it.
Well, that's how the Pacers got back into the game, because they were hurling threes, weren't they, to try and get back in the game. But for some reason, the Knicks were going the other way and trying to do the same. And I'm like, what are you doing? You don't need threes, guys. Why you're playing their game now? You up and down three. And it's like you're playing their game. You've got to consolidate your lead of what you've got. Keep going for twos and stuff. Easier baskets and not contested threes. They threw it away, bro, didn't they? Really, it's crazy. It's an amazing as a feat as the Pacers are for winning the game. The Knicks blew this one, bro.
Well, I think also you had it really late. I think it was like there was like a minute and a half left, and you were sort of looking, thinking this is getting really interesting now. Yeah. And it was a 7-point lead, and Cat goes up the other end. He's got Halliburton in the paint with him, and I'm thinking, post him up, easy. He threw it out of bounds. Because you had Josh Hart in the corner, and instead of just taking the easy matchup and putting it, you'd already had a good game. You got over 30 points at this point. You're having a good game. Why are you not doing that? And he threw it out of bounds. And it just panned to Tibbs, and the look on his face. It was just like, what are you doing? You've got the easy shot there that just stops a bit. It stops the bleeding a little bit. But you just threw it away. There were so many poor decisions the Knicks were making late on in that game. But ultimately, it comes down to the fact that when a team's 3 points up, I know Tibbs always does it, and I know one person who hated doing it and who used to say all the time that he wouldn't do it because it's not basketball is the great Greg Popovich. Fouling when you're 3 points up, ultimately, that is what cost them the game. Because if you don't, so Nesmith's got it, it's a 3-point lead and you foul him. They've not got a timeout left. So he can't draw a play up or anything like that. There's 12 seconds left. Just surely you'd rather just let someone shoot. Take a chance with it, because then you've got the result. You've got your timeout left. The worst thing that's going to happen, as long as someone doesn't do something stupid, is they're going to tie the game. And then you get the last shot then. But instead, you're taking that away by fouling, and then they're going to foul you back, and you have to make both of these free throws, which OG Anunoby failed to do, and that opened the door. And
they'd have gone up 4 then, wouldn't they, bro, if they'd have hit that sort of free throw?
It would have been 3, but obviously with Halliburton's last shot not being a 3-pointer, they would have won the game.
Sorry, but you're right.
All of that could have been avoided if they didn't foul when there were 3 points up, because then you're putting immense pressure on whoever's going to go and take a free throw. And yes, I'm a firm believer. If you're in the NBA, you should not be missing free throws. But it's different with that context, isn't it? Late on in a game, it's a high pressure situation in the Garden, all the rest of it. You're putting a lot of pressure on OG to make that free throw, and you could make it so much easier by, instead of putting him, because there'll be a lot of people last night that'll blame him now because of that, because that's how the Knicks operate. But the key thing to remember is that if you just play team basketball, defense, try and get a stop, all that could have been avoided.
Yeah.
But instead, I think you've kind of laid in like sort of like a lamb to the slaughter a little bit, and all the pressure's on him, and that's ultimately what cost it. But should you foul when you're 3 points up? Personally, I think it's a terrible idea, but for some reason, Tibbs and there's a couple of others that always do it, and it doesn't make much sense to me, Matt. I don't know what you think.
It's like those teams who go for that 2-for-1 at the end of quarters, and they just chuck up a 3 because they want that 2-for-1. I'd rather get a better shot, bro. I'd rather get a good shot at the end of the shot clock or something than trying to chuck up a 3 and try and get this 2-for-1 thing. Fair enough, it's at the end of the game, and that's what you've got to do, but they do it at the end of third quarters, second quarters, first quarters. I don't get it. I don't get that. Get a decent shot. Get a good shot.
I mean, we do it all the
run
time.
what you need to,
Missoula has us doing it all the time.
Yeah, but Devin Booker does it for us, for his sons. That he does it all the time. Just like, yeah, it's great when it goes in, but if it doesn't, you've just rushed short and
you've rushed it, and you've given the other team now a lot more time for them to.
Yeah.
Especially when they say about the 2-for-1, Matt, and they say 2-for-1 territory is like 28 to 32 seconds. So you're telling me with 28 seconds, I could potentially have 4 seconds or less to get this ball all the way down the other end of the court and get a better shot than I would have when I've just rushed one. You essentially, instead of having the clock to play one, like you said, good shot, you're not taking it and you're taking 2 rushed shots.
Yeah.
Which, if they both go down, everyone's laughing, but most of the time that's not going to happen. And you've left points there, and you've also allowed the other team to get another shot off potentially, where they are going to take the time with it because they're not trying to get a 2-for-1, and they're going to get a better shot.
Yeah,
it backfires. So I just think that fouling with 3 points up, that is in a nutshell, that's what cost the Knicks late on in that game. If they didn't do that, I believe it would have been a different result. Because even if the 3 goes down, like I said, there was still like 10 seconds left, and the Knicks had a timeout. You can draw a play up. You can get a good shot, and it's a different ending.
Sure. No, absolutely. We talked about turnovers in the other game, bro. Pacers only had 7 turnovers in a game that went to overtime. I mean, for Halliburton, who's handling the ball so much, to have 7 turnovers as a team is, I mean, some players have 7 turnovers on their own. James Harden, a few others in playoffs and things. So, to have 7 turnovers as a team is brilliant. Away from home as well. Yeah, fantastic.
Well, I mean, obviously, Halliburton led the league as well in turnovers per assist. He led the league in, the fewest turnovers per assist. And he was the assist leader. So that, to me, shows you just how elite of a playmaker, ball handler he is.
Not bad for overrated, really.
No, it's not, is it? I don't know why. That comment still annoys me. I'm not a Pacers fan. I'm a Halliburton appreciator. I wouldn't say I'm a fan.
Why are they even asking the players that?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't even understand. Like, he must just see that and think, really, what's what I'm going to do now then?
I mean, this could be his fuel now, couldn't it? This could be fueling him the whole way. And I don't know, man. The Pacers look like the team of destiny, don't they? As it's going at the moment, mate. It's just like they don't know when they're beaten, mate. How many teams have they just put the end of the bench guys on, down 14 with 6 minutes to go? I mean,
I think it all comes down to, obviously, you've got Rick Carlisle there. He's the only coach out of the 4 remaining that is a champion. He won, obviously, with Dallas with Dirk back, 13 years ago. You don't lose that championship mentality.
No.
And
beat them big 3 Miami boys, didn't he? So
and that's the grit that you find that can get you to sort of being a resilient coach and teaching you guys to be resilient.
That team is an extension of Rick Carlisle. You can tell, can't you? That they really are.
And I think an advantage of having no big egos and no big personalities is that they're going to listen to him, and they're going to properly listen to him.
Yeah.
And it's, like we were saying about situations with Neesmith, maybe this is just the perfect sort of matchup of coach and team. I know I sort of said that Daigneault is probably the best coach, but in terms of, coaches being matched to teams, this is a dream fit, really, isn't it, for the Pacers and the way that they play and the guys they've got and the egos and the personalities.
Yeah.
Even with Halliburton last night, he's done the choke sign that I still thought I was absolutely class. I still think, even in the interview afterwards, he wasn't arrogant. He wasn't getting overconfident.
No.
He said, obviously, Reggie Miller's always been sort of like a role model to him. I think when they interviewed him at the draft combine years ago, he said it was his favorite player of all time. And then it obviously years later becomes the Pacers after sort of taking that U-turn in Sacramento. So it's quite strange, isn't it? Destiny and things matching up, Matt. There's a lot of synchronicity there, isn't there?
Sometimes it all just falls into place, bro, doesn't it? There was some amazing stats flying around last night after that game, wasn't there? About what teams are when they're up so many points. Did you see any of these, George?
I didn't actually know.
Oh, here we go. Teams leading by at least 14 points in the last 2 minutes 45 of the fourth quarter were 994-0 since 1998. Now it's 994-1. So, and what was the other one? Since 98, because that's when they kind of started doing the play-by-play stats and stuff. Teams are 4 and 1,640 when trailing by 7+ in the final minute of a fourth quarter or overtime in the playoffs. 3 of those are the Pacers from this season's playoffs. I mean, what can you say to that? Like, what do you do?
That is a stat and a half.
Now them two are some stats for you.
They are mega. That's a mega stat. That is wow.
Unbelievable. Some of the things flying about last night were fun, weren't they?
But I think the closest team that you can compare, not in terms of the players and the personnel, because obviously it's completely different, but just in terms of the fact that no one really believed they were going to do anything, and then even like they got here and still people aren't talking about it. It's very reminiscent of the Pistons, isn't it? In 2004 when they managed to the seed went on and won it. Yeah. No one believed they were going to do it, and even in the finals, it was still like, well, they're not going to win. They're not going to beat the Lakers.
The Lakers, yeah, no, absolutely.
But obviously they went on and won it, so it's that kind of thing. Can they do it? And I said, at the start, Matt, I think you can make a case for all 4 of these teams, potentially going on and winning it.
But it's wide open, Jordan, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's wide open, really. Any of these 4, like you say, could end up winning it.
When you've got no skin in the game, to use your favourite catchphrase, Matt. As a neutral, this is exactly what you want, isn't it? This is going to keep you interested in it because you're thinking, there's no clear-cut runaway winner at this point.
Yes.
Absolutely. And everyone, touch wood at the moment, everyone is healthy. But you'd still sort of think that the Pacers probably can still, if they lost, 1 or 2 guys, they can still make it work. Because there's not an over-reliance on one player, is there? I know obviously Halliburton he sort of took the game over last night, but there's been plenty of games in this playoff run where Halliburton's not had a good night and they've still won. So
they don't rely on him to score all the time. He can because he had 31 last night, but it's not like you say. It's not night in, night out. It's a different person every game. I think we said this on the last pod, bro. Like last night, it was Naismith who stepped up. Another night it could be Siakam. Another night it could be Turner, Nembhard, Mathurin. Toppin had some big buckets late on, didn't he? An OT and
he did. Can I just also say the funniest before I forget, the funniest thing I think from this entire game was where OG had a fast break, no one near him, and just completely blew a tire trying to. I don't know if you saw it. But
yeah.
It's for a layup and like as a dunk, and all of a sudden it just slips out of his hand, and I'm like, what? And then straight down the other end, Toppin wide open in the paint, winds up for this massive windmill and misses it. And I was just like, how can that happen within 20 seconds of each other? It's absolutely insane. I've never seen 2 massive blunders like that, back-to-back possessions.
Back-to-back, yeah. I mean, Toppin, he must like that one, man. Used to be a Knicks player, didn't he? Was drafted by the Knicks.
They booed him as well last night.
They booed him. Oh, wow.
I'm not sure why, because
what the hell did I do?
But yeah, there was quite a few boos when he was on the court. It's probably because it's the Knicks fans, and there's about 1 brain cell between half of them. So.
Surprised they let Reggie Miller in the building, bro. I mean, the Knicks fans and Reggie Miller's rivalry goes way back, bro. You were just a twinkle in your mother's eye, then, mate.
Yeah, but I think at the same time, mate, with obviously with Reggie, I think it just goes to show, what a great sort of professional he was, because there was no hint of bias in that commentary last night from him.
No, he was straight down the middle, to be fair.
Yeah. And I think it was quite interesting as well, late on in the game, he just didn't really say anything for the last minute, because I think he didn't want to sort of be like, yes, come on. He just sort of stayed quiet late on in that game, let everybody else handle it. So
when Halliburton pointed to him when he hit that shot at the end of regulation, I was just channeling Reggie here, mate. Reggie give him the point back as well, man. That's absolute theatre, mate. It was a crazy night at MSG. How some nights go, but if they like this every game, George, it's going to be fun for the neutral, right?
Oh yeah, Yeah, I mean, there was a point in this game as well where the Knicks were keeping up with the pace, and you could even make the point that they were outpacing them at one stage.
Yeah,
I think the reason it went wrong is because they carried on sticking with it, like you were saying, Matt. They were throwing up threes that they didn't need to take. And it's like, well, you've sort of not mastered them. You thought you were getting on top of them and you'd worked them out, but you haven't, because now it's backfired and you should have quit while you were ahead, sort of thing.
Yeah. Just consolidate your lead. Sometimes it's just about keep the score ticking over, but don't go long stretches without scoring. And that's what they did. And ultimately that was the downfall, wasn't it? Or one of the contributing factors,
Yeah, but all I can say is that the basketball gods don't forget. And for all the mockery, and you thought you were really funny when we blew leads. How does it feel now, New York? Because the basketball gods have answered, and they've seen how you acted in the wake of Jason Tatum's injury and the Boston Celtics' demise. And something tells me they're not very happy based on last night.
If they go down 0-2, bro, like you boys went down 0-2 to them, oh my goodness. Oh dear. Big game 2 coming up, bro. Big game 2. Got to win that if you're the Knicks, right?
How loud can it get, in Indiana? People think, MSG and all the rest of it. It is loud as hell in Indiana when when there's NBA basketball going on, when there's playoff basketball going on, and there's that wall of yellow, isn't there? Yeah. And it's a sight to behold, man. And I think don't sleep on the impact that their own home crowd is going to have. Mm-hmm. I think have they only lost one game at home, I think, this whole playoff run.
Cleveland won one, didn't they?
Yeah, they won one. Bucks didn't win any in Indiana. So yeah, they've only lost one. They've only dropped one game at home. The Knicks, I think they've now lost 5 at home, haven't they? Because they lost 2 to the Pistons.
2 to the Pistons.
They lost. Oh no, 4. They lost 2 to the Pistons, 1 to us, and now 1 to Indiana.
Oh yes, you're right. Yeah.
So it's it's interesting.
What does home court mean then? Does home court mean anything anymore, George?
Well, I mean, I think it's been fine for the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves haven't lost at home yet.
True.
So they seem to have worked out whatever's going on.
The Knicks have not yet.
No. Also, the Thunder have dropped. They've dropped a few. They lost 2 at home, didn't they, to the Nuggets?
Denver took game 1, didn't they?
They took game 1 and they took game. Oh no, was it only 1 game? Was it only? Might have been only 1 game. No.
It was only 1.
Oh, fair, right. So I don't know. I mean, obviously there was a lot of talk earlier on in the playoffs where it was like road teams of 5 and 9 at one point.
Yeah, that's true.
It's quite surprising, but obviously now we're getting to the deep end of it. You're expecting these teams are going to be able to hold home court. Unless you're the New York Knicks. So we'll see, Matt. But this series I think this is going to be interesting. And have the Pacers just stoke the fire a little bit like they did against the Bucks. Just get under the Knicks' skin a little bit, throw them off the game. A bit of the dark arts maybe going on, especially late on in that game. Maybe it'll work, because I guarantee you Halliburton's going to get booed out of the building in the next game.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's going to hear it. He's going to hear it, isn't he? Yeah, absolutely. Going back to your MVP thing, George, the last MVP to win a chip was Curry in 2015.
Oh, right. Okay. Has there been many since 2000 or?
Well, we've got Shaq in 2000 won it, Duncan in 2003, LeBron in 12 and 13, and then Curry in 15. So 5 since 2005.
It's not many, is it, really? No, and especially when you factor in that they are, superstar Hall of Famers. It's not bad company to be in, is it?
No, absolutely not. No, for sure. So, there's another stat for you. Did you have a stat for us, George? You had the kind of stat that you wanted to share with the group, did you not?
So, for some reason, I was looking at Warriors' shooting percentage the other day. It was just something came up while I was on 2K. And I was I'm just curious about this. Let me have a Google. And obviously, Steph Curry dominated the vast majority of stats, as you would expect. But very surprisingly, the most efficient shooter in Warriors history is Gary Payton II. I still can't quite get over it. 71% from inside the 3-point line.
Wow.
And a true shooting percentage of 61%. An effective field goal percentage of 59%. So, I mean, there's some stats there, Matt, and that's with all players that have taken a minimum of 500 shots. So it's not just that he's thrown up a few here and there; he's consistently done it, and I think that's some stat.
Absolutely, it's a show, an episode full of stats this week, George. So there's another stat for the basketball nerds, for sure. So congrats to Gary Payton II. Well done to you, sir. But I think that's all we've got time for, Jordan. Unless there's anything else you want to bring up while we're here.
No, I'm really sorry, mate, but I'm gonna have to dash. It is a bit of an emergency. So thanks for having me.
You get yourself off, Brent.
I'll get myself off. I'll let you do the outro, mate.
All right, man. Take it easy, right now, so mate. Later. So that was George, and now he has gone. Thanks very much to him for dropping in on the podcast. So we'll be back next week with another episode. Conference finals will be carrying on into next week. So stay tuned for another episode, guys. So thanks for tuning in. I'm Matt at PostUp323. You'll be able to watch this on YouTube and also in podcast form on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. So stay tuned on the socials, guys, for the next episode, probably coming at some time next week. But thanks for listening or watching, and we will see you again very soon. Take care.